the ace of the staff. Let's welcome in Logan Webb. Let's bring a friend of mine in, Pat Burrow. Pat, how are you today?
Bill, I'm doing great, man. Glad to be on with you.
Giants fans, this is Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On your exclusive home of the San Francisco Giants. KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Down by 3. Another long odds. Here's the pitch. Down and away. A slider for ball 1. But going back, I suppose the part that will keep some guys awake during the night, the inability to move that runner in the 10th inning over, where one run would have won the game. Fly ball along the left field line, tearing over toward the foul line is Conforto, and right at the foul line, or rather Pajes, and he bends down to his right to make a backhanded catch, and the game is over, and the Dodgers win the rubber match over the Giants.
Welcome into a Sunday edition of the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. The Giants made it interesting with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning by Luis Matos. Opportunities in the 10th inning, they could have won it. It just didn't happen, and the LA Dodgers walk out, taking the series 2 out of 3 games as they win 5-2 at Oracle Park. A great pitching matchup with Yamamoto and Ray, and it didn't prevail after that. The Giants bullpen just was stellar, but the Dodgers chipped away. The Dodgers got 3 runs in that 11th inning, and they won the game. And you go back to exactly what John Miller said. The bunt by Patrick Bailey could have got the runner over. Rafael Devers lined the ball out to center field. What a great play by the center fielder, and it just didn't work out for the Giants today, and they fall 2 out of 3 against the LA Dodgers. They go 52-45, as they say in the first half, all-star break, as they're 7 games over 500. And I really want to hear about Giants fans today. Were you expecting this kind of season up to this point? All-star break is really when you start diving into what you need. Could we trade for this? What are we going to possibly do? And today also, the draft was made. The Giants, in their 13th round pick of the 2025 June draft, picked up a shortstop second baseman from University of Tennessee, Gavin Killen, a shortstop, good player, line drive hitter, and the Giants ended up going up the middle for a top pick. So a lot of things going on today. I'd love to hear from you as we finish out, they say, the first half. The Giants now with 65 games left for the season. 97 games they played, 52-45. But there's a lot of positive things that happened today in this game. But the offense just couldn't get going. When you look at Ramos, Devers, and Adames at the top of the order, 0 for 14. 0 for 14. Add Wilmer Flores in there, 0 for 18. Just the bats just weren't there. A couple key times up, they had runners in base. They just could not score against Yamamoto as well as Vesia. And they ended up getting to Tanner Scott with that 2-run home run for Matos. And what a great moment for Luis Matos coming into pinch hit. A ballpark that was packed all 3 games, and he hits the home run to tie it. And they had opportunities. I said it in that 10th inning. Opportunities were there. The bunt was not down by Patrick Bailey. And one more opportunity with Rafael Devers, and he hit a line drive to center field. My name's Bill Laskey. Let's get the phone lines ringing. 415-808-KNBR. Love to hear what you guys say about the Giants' first half. And I think they've done very well, 52-45. So we'll take a quick break, come back with your calls, and talk more about Giants baseball right here on the Sports Leader.
You're listening to the former Giants righty. It's KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Heard on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR.
Wilmer Flores on deck. Now swing. There's a shot. High and deep. Left center field. Way back there. Adios! Pelota! What a moment for young Luis Matos. A jolt of adrenaline for the sellout crowd as the Giants' dugout erupts. Matos has tied the game in the 9th inning. The Giants' offense coming out of hibernation. And Luis Matos off the bench as a pinch hitter. What a moment for him. It's 2-2. Don't go anywhere.
Back on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. Great call right there by John Miller. It did get that crowd up. It was sitting there for 8 innings. Nothing was happening with the San Francisco Giants as Yamato just shut them down for 7 innings, only giving up 3 hits. And the big plus, the big bounce, the big popper. Luis Matos comes up and hits an 0-1 fastball to dead left center field, tied the game up, and the momentum changed. The Giants had an opportunity in the 10th inning. It just didn't fail. It failed right there on a bunt by Patrick Bailey to get the runner over to third. Rafael Devers hits a ball 108 miles an hour to center field. Outman catches it. The Giants just couldn't do anything after that as the Dodgers ended up getting 3 runs in the 11th inning to take the third game of a 2-out-of-3 series, and they ended up winning 2 out of 3. So it was a good 3-game series. Ballpark was packed every day. Hey, I want to reach out and say hello to my buddy Otto. He and his friend were at the game today. He just texted me an exciting game, but too bad the Giants had to lose, and I'm right there with you, Otto. A lot of Giants fans were disappointed in an opportunity there in the 10th inning, and it just didn't go the Giants' way. So now the Giants take 4 days off. They end up going to Toronto next weekend for 3, and then they go to Atlanta for 3, so 6 games on the road. They're 24-25 on the road. They're 28-20 at Oracle Park, and I still think that's a big plus coming to Oracle and playing there. All right, let's get to the phone lines. Let's go to Big Sam. He's in San Bruno. Big Sam, what's first half, as they say, 52-45. Tell me your thoughts on this Giants team.
Right outside the Lenardi's parking lot, Bill. You know, it is a gorgeous day today. I could have went to the game, but I decided to take a hike up in the trail through San Bruno and the Millbrae Hills. It is gorgeous. I'm thinking of Bill Laskey being outside of Lenardi's. Listen, you know, you've got to pencil me in this week or something. We got to grab a bite maybe next weekend.
Yeah, we got to get up there to Wood Lake Joe's or somewhere around there and have a bite so we can sit down and talk baseball for a couple hours, Big Sam, and we got to do that. Before you hang up, give my producer your number. Give my producer your number. I'll give you a buzz this week.
Yeah, of course. Maybe the Toronto series they're away. We can have dinner Saturday night.
That sounds great. Big Sam, tell me your thoughts, man, about the season. What did you think of the first half, 52-45?
So, honestly, they don't get an F. They don't get a D. They don't get a C. I put them at a solid B. And I called you through the first half of the season, and I was right. I said 50 wins, but I think they could have gotten at 53, 54. And
I think so too. A couple games that were just given away, and some games where they lost 1-0. I remember both games by Robbie Ray against Miami and the White Sox, and he lost 2 games 1-0 against 2 teams that were sellers in their division. Some of those games that bugged me was the White Sox series, losing 2 out of 3, getting swept by Miami. When we were talking, Big Sam, right before that, here we go. This is the part of the season where they can get some runs and some wins and get the offense going, and it backfired them.
I thought, and let's be practical. Let's be realistic here and transparent. And they are, as you said, they're in much need of this 4 days off. But the front office, Buster Posey, have to turn whether to their left or to their right and look at Pablo Picasso and say, give me your paintbrush. And how are we going to paint this picture to how the season is going to end? Because with 65 games left, they can go 35-30. Now, I don't know about 40 wins, but they can easily get to that 87, 88 mark, which is needed to get a wild card, Bill. And
Yeah, I
think
agree.
if
I
they
agree, Big Sam,
continue-
and it's going to start.
Right.
It's really going to start this road trip. You're playing a hot team in Toronto, and of course they're winning the AL East right now over the Yankees, so they're going to walk into a firestorm right there. That team's playing real well. But then you go into Atlanta. Here's Atlanta, 10 games under 500, so you will have an opportunity to get going on this road trip. I just don't know what they're going to do with their rotation. Will Robbie Ray pitch the first game Friday? Logan Webb did announce that he is going to pitch an inning in the All-Star game, so most likely you might see him Sunday. I really believe Robbie Ray as well as Logan Webb have to pitch in that Blue Jay series.
And lastly, Bill, look, you're a pro. You're a pro's pro. You played, you manage, you consult, you do the radio thing. Look, Rafa is a pro. And at some point, and I know this team is looking at, oh, my goodness, we got $350 million tied with this guy. At some point, the second half, once he heals and the injury goes away, I know he has to have, and I repeat, has to have a productive season where he goes, maybe 10 home runs the rest of the year, hits you about
he'll carry the team.
290.
He can carry the team once he gets hot. We saw that in Boston. Once he gets hot and gets going, and, I really felt he was going to come through. I really did. I was like, here he is. He's going to shine second half, but he hit the hell out of that ball, Big Sam. He blasted that ball to center field. A little bit over the other head, maybe line drive, but again, he 3-1 fastball, and he really hit all of that.
We could have went home. I thought, everyone was going to. And what is the deal with all this? There's so much blue. I was at the park around there yesterday. I can't tell you the amount of blue and packs of buses and people.
It was the whole weekend. Yeah, Big Sam, it was the whole weekend, bringing in their groups of people. Hey, you sell a ticket. I think that's what happens. You just can't hold tickets and hope Giants fans pick them up, but I wish they would have. I loved what Willie Adames said. Hey, I wish there was more orange and black in the stands. Disappointing to the players, too. Well, we'll see what happens. They're 4-2 against the Dodgers. They have 7 more games to play, 3 more at Oracle Park in September, but they got to go to L.A. and play 4 in September. But Big Sam, have a great night. Throw that number to my producer, and we'll talk over next week. I appreciate your time. Let's go to Rick in Hayward. Rick, you're on Extra Inning Post-Game Show on a Sunday with Bill Laskey. A disappointing game, but yet an exciting game when Matos hit that home run.
Definitely exciting. I wasn't expecting a home run. I just was hoping for a hit. And when he got that, I guess it was a slider, but he just clobbered the heck out of it. That was a tremendous swing by him, especially not getting a lot of at-bats lately for him, and it brought the team back. My first half synopsis of the team is,
please do.
Well,
yeah,
heck,
I'd love to hear.
I'm actually surprised. I did think we were going to be over 500. Unfortunately, we're not doing good enough against the teams that are out of the playoffs. 29-26 does not get it done. You got to clean up on the teams below you, and the Giants seem to be playing to the level of the competition, and it's killing
the lower teams hurt them. When you're looking at teams over 500, they're 26-21. I don't know if you know that one. 26-21 with teams over 500 records. I think what you're talking about are teams under 500 where they should have mounted attacks on some of those teams, and they didn't. And that's what I'm baffled at the first half. I would have loved to have seen a little bit better offense against some of the teams like the White Sox, losing 2 out of 3, losing 1-0 on a Robbie Ray start, getting blasted by Miami in that 3-game homestand. Those 6 games right there, only winning 1 game, it just, I scratch my head. Those I would have seen 5-1 more than 1-5. Your thoughts?
I totally agree with you. The way I calculated it was I looked at the teams in the playoffs right now today, and then I looked at the teams out of the playoffs, and that's where I got my 29-26 figure. But anyways, it doesn't, they just have to be better. I agree with you, against teams below them, and they have that chance in Atlanta. The key to today's game was, again, great pitching by the starter, Robbie Ray, great pitching by the bullpen. My question is, what's going on with the hitting? In the 4 losses against L.A., they're batting 141. I mean,
yeah, and you could dive into those numbers even more, Rick. Rick, you could dive into those more numbers when you look at what Ramos has done in the last 16 games, 10 for 67, 16 punch-outs. You look at Rafael Devers, just this homestand, 6 games, 3 against Philly, 3 against L.A., 1 for 18 with 7 punch-outs. Those numbers aren't going to get it when those are your 2 top hitters.
I agree. I think the back is more of an issue for Devers right now than anybody's letting on. And if he needs to go on the disabled list for 10 days, that's what they need to do. They need to get somebody in there that can do better than just take 5 walks or in his last 20 at-bats. Right. I mean, he clobbered the heck out of the ball today. But, I mean, as soon as you saw Lee, the trajectory of the bat, and the way the ball was flying, you knew it was going to be not out. And the one thing that got me surprised was, what was Casey Schmidt doing at second base? He should have been tagging up and going at least a third on that play. But that's beside the point.
Yeah. And you couldn't do anything about it. I don't know if he was thinking the ball was over his head, but sure, I'm right there with you. He stayed at second base, and the fly ball didn't get anybody in, and then ended up Adames is hitting a ground ball to third. Good point on that. It's tough when you're in that situation, and I know what Casey Schmidt's saying. Do I go? Do I tag? Do I not? What do I do? And you're right in the middle of it. If it goes over his head, you better score. If he catches it, what do? Do you go back and tag? I mean, Outman's a great outfielder. He made a great catch on that ball. Good first step. There was a couple things. I thought the bunt was huge that Patrick Bailey missed the first 2 pitches. He fouled the first one off. It was right down the middle. And, when you reach for the ball like that, you pop it up. You reach for it instead of trying to catch it.
Now, well, I have a question. This is something I don't know if you know about it, but this new torpedo bat, obviously, you could tell he was using one. Now, does that make it harder to bunt? I mean, because now you have all these...
I think you got more of a barrel to bunt with that. I've seen the torpedo bat there. It's mostly all head. It really is. And when you look at it, it looks like a bowling pin. That's how big of the head of it from the trademark up. So are they using them? I don't know who's using them. Last time I saw Tyler Fitzgerald using them, I thought he was using them. But, again, he's not here. I don't know if anybody's using them anymore.
Right. Yeah, I don't know how it works. But, I mean, the way he was holding the bat, I noticed, and I looked at the axe handle that he has at the bottom of the bat. Instead of the circular bottom, it looked like an axe handle. So I just assumed it might be a torpedo bat. But anyways, you have to. It all comes down to simple basics. They didn't do the things they needed to do to win today. Look at LA. They just put the ball in play, and that's how they won the game.
Yeah, 2 blue pits.
Blue pits and a play that Wilmer almost made to Bevins. Bevins got kind of the odd man out. And the last thing I want to bring up is, why didn't Rogers pitch today?
Well, he pitched the last 2 games. He did pitch the last. He pitched Friday and Saturday. That was the thing, and I was thinking the same thing. He was the only guy down there that could have gotten in there. I don't know if he could have pitched 3 days in a row or not. He pitched in half of the games, Rick. Half of the games yesterday. When I was looking at it, I was doing post-game last night, 96 games. He's been in 48 of them. And he's not going to the All-Star game with a 1.44 earned run average. A lot of things I didn't like about the All-Star picks and selections this year. I was not happy with some of the players that got in and some of the players that didn't. They didn't take the best players. They didn't take the best stats. Some of them were taken for names and appeal. I just don't like that in the All-Star game. But, Rick, thanks for the call, man. Good stuff as always. Let's go to Don. He's in San Francisco. Don, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show on a Sunday. A tough game, exciting game. The Giants just didn't win.
I'm so disgusted. I mean, I can't, get the free base at the second base, and that's how they probably won today, the Dodgers, They just got everything for free, It's just ridiculous, Come on now.
Well, a couple blue pits. That's what
Yeah.
happened, Don. They almost got
on.
out of it in the 11th inning with Freeman. He just blew that ball right into the Bermuda Triangle, as they call it, in right center field, and then another base hit down the right field line. The Giants had an opportunity to win this, and Joey Lucchese, who does not get a
They
lot
had a
of
hell of a lot.
he pitched great in that extra inning, got out of it, and I thought the momentum, it shifted right to the Giants with Bailey leading off, and then you had the top of the order.
Yeah.
And, it just didn't work out.
I gotta ask
and
you a
I really – go ahead, Don.
I got you a comment about. I heard the Dodgers got 4 games in L.A. and the Giants only got 3 here in San Francisco. How come they got 4 and we? What's the matter with that situation? How come they get 4
I
and
don't
we
know.
only get 3 up here?
That's a good one because they played 6 so far, and it's 3-3, 3 there, 3 they here, and they're 4-2 against the Giants, and now they play 7 left, and the Giants go down there for 4. I'd have to look to see what happened last year. Sometimes they flip them year to year like that, especially when it's 13 games. Interesting point, though, Don. I'll have to take a peek at it for last year. I think that's the only reason why they would flip it that way. You never know. These schedules are so strange. Some of the teams they play, and then you have to fly back cross country and play the next day. It's not fair, but most teams and all teams have to do it.
Sure. All right, just hope
Thanks,
the Giants
Don.
can
Thanks
get
for
the
your call. I appreciate it. Appreciate your call. We're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. Don't go anywhere. Got a lot of callers on hold here, and also got a couple great interviews coming up at the end of the show. Dominic Smith, you know him, number 7, plays first base. Sat down with him yesterday and really talked to him about his life and where he started from, and really catching up with Dominic Smith. A great interview you don't want to miss there. And then I caught up with Mickey Hatcher. Mickey Hatcher played also for the Dodgers, and he also coached for the Angels. Had a great career, and ended up talking to Mickey for a while. 2 good interviews later on in the show that you'll enjoy. So it's Bill Laskey on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
From the mound to the mic, this is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him by saying to your smart speaker, play KNBR.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Casey peering in over his glove, out of the wind, he throws, Outman swings, hits a little pop-up right to Willie Adames behind the bag. He'll make the catch, and the inning is over. What a job there from Joey Lucchese. Retires all 3 batters he faces, and that automatic runner for the Dodgers stranded at third.
Back on the Extra Inning post-game show on a beautiful Sunday here in Northern California. The bullpen just was outstanding after Robbie Ray goes 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts. The 2 walks in the 4th inning gave up his first run, and then a home run by Miguel Rojas, and that happened in the 5th inning. Pitched another good game, 92 pitches, 54 for strikes, 4 ground balls, 8 fly balls. Ryan Walker comes in, throws a 1 inning, 2 strikeouts. Randy Rodriguez going to the All-Star game, throws 1 inning, 1 strikeout. He threw 13 pitches, 8 for strikes. That was his 41st game he was in. So he goes to the All-Star game with these statistics: 41 2/3 innings pitched, 25 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 home run, 8 walks with 55 strikeouts with a .86 earned run average. What a great, great first half by Randy Rodriguez. And then Camilo Duvall comes in, walks a guy, punches out 2. He throws 19 pitches, 14 for strikes. Joey Lucchese was on fire today with a runner on the ghost runner on second base, comes in and throws out 3 ground balls. And what a great job he did in that clutch situation. The Giants had an opportunity in that 10th inning. They just couldn't cash in that run, and the Dodgers scored 3 runs in the 11th inning, and they win this game 5-2. But yesterday, I had a caller. I don't know if people are listening. You remember this call? I think his name was Mike from Redwood City. He wanted to know why Shohei Ohtani could pitch and still be the designated hitter. And I was saying that opportunities like this happen where a hitter of his caliber could be the DH. Well, I researched it a little bit more today. Major League Baseball made a rule a couple years ago, and it's called the Shohei Ohtani rule. It treats the pitcher and DH as separate players, allowing him to both pitch and hit on the same day. So there's your answer. I knew it. It was a rule by Major League Baseball, so it's the Shohei Ohtani rule. Now, if there's any other pitchers out there that can do that in DH, I'm sure you could still do it, but there's not too many pitchers that can hit like Shohei Ohtani. So the Major League Baseball made that rule a couple years ago, and they influenced it yesterday. Of course, Shohei Ohtani pitched 3 innings yesterday and then became the DH after that, and he was still hitting while he was pitching. So there's the rule. I wanted to clarify it today. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Let's go to Ed. He was at the game. Ed, it was an exciting game in that 9th inning. What'd you think of the whole the game all itself?
Oh, well, I came away with, like a lot of fans, with completely mixed feelings. I was frustrated with the lack of hitting. I assumed they were going to lose 2-0. I was really down. And then when they tied it, it was just amazing. And I thought they were going to win it. And I actually think that they did enough to win that game. Remember, that winning run should have scored on that bullet that was hit. That should have been, in all likelihood, should have been a hit. And the guy tracked it down, and then they end up losing on some bloops. So
yeah, a couple bloop balls. Ed, just a minute ago, Bob Melvin said it in his post-game show. Here's Rafael Devers hits a ball 106 miles an hour to dead center field, and Outman catches it, and the 2 balls that were hit weren't even 30 to 40 mile an hour, and they were both bloops. But that's baseball, right, Ed? That's how baseball works. You can hit them as hard as you can. It's where they fall.
That's right. So, and people may ask, well, do you feel better or worse that they lost the game the way they did instead of losing 2-0? And to me, it's a no-brainer. I feel much better this way. I think they come away feeling at least somewhat good about themselves coming into the break. They fought. they played the Dodgers, certainly, except for one game. All these games were battles. So
They were.
You know,
Every one of them. Every one of them. Even yesterday, 2-1, Ed. It was a good game. And they scored one in the eighth. They just couldn't get another one. The late innings, yesterday and today, Matos' home run definitely changed the flavor in that ballpark. Sure got me excited because I was thinking the same way. Here we go again. That would have been the 10th shutout. They had been shut out 9 times this season. But Luis Matos, here's a little energy from him, a young kid that's trying to get in the big leagues to play, and he came up in the biggest moment. You saw him hitting his chest, fist chest, saying, I can do this, and I think that gives him the confidence and maybe gives Bob Melvin some more opportunities for him to play.
Absolutely. And overall, I think I agree with most fans. I would give the team a B overall for the season.
Were you expecting to see 52 and 45 after 97 games when you were realistic about the season?
I would say early in the season, no. But after they got Devers, I told myself at least 500 and maybe a few games over. I honestly thought that because I thought Devers would really help. So yes and no, I would say about that.
Yeah, you know, it got my attention when they lost 3 to Miami and they lost 2 out of 3 to Chicago, and they were going to Arizona to play 4, and I was looking at the records, and I'm like, man, they got to play Philly and L.A. I was like, man, they can't be under 500 at the break. And then they got hot. And today's game, man, when they turned around with Matos hitting that home run, I'm like, they're going to pull this game out, and it would have ended up with a real solid positive. I still think it was a positive first half, being 52 and 45. Now you got to go play a hot team in Toronto. You get a couple days off. I think that's really going to help Rafael Devers. It gives Ramos some time to get off. He's in a slump. These two guys got to get healthy, and they got to get better hitting because they are needed in this lineup.
Absolutely.
Well, Ed, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. I wish I could have had a win for you today, and I'm sure you would have liked one leaving the Oracle, but it was an exciting game, and I really loved your energy when you said you were happy with it, and I am too. All right, let's go to Bill. He's in Alameda. Bill, a tough loss, but what do you think of the Giants being 52 and 45 at the All-Star break?
Hey, thanks, Mr. Laskey, for taking my call, man. I've never called a radio show. I just want to say a few things, man, you know, and I'm going to try to stay focused. You know, I was born in New York City. My dad was a bookie, okay, that has nothing to do with this, but he loved Willie Mays, and we all loved Willie. I used to argue with the kid about Willie and Mickey Mantle, okay? So it hurts me bad that Willie Mays and McCovey and Bonds never got a chance to win a World Series as a Giant, okay? Now let's flash forward, okay? You know, I'm not a baseball aficionado. I didn't even know who Rafael Devers was. Okay, honestly, because I'm not looking at Boston, you know, and they bring the guy over here. To me, I hope he's hurt. Otherwise, this guy is a bum, okay? He cannot square the ball up. And then, you know, you said where he rocked it. That was a routine catch in the outfield. That guy ran it down and caught it in the middle of his glove.
Bill, that ball was hit 106 miles an hour. You know, Bill, that ball was crushed to center field. Outman made a great catch on that ball. And no, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to disagree with one other thing you said about Rafael Devers. Rafael Devers is a 280 lifetime hitter. 9 years in the big leagues. You got to give this guy a little break. He's got a couple injuries. Let's see what he does the second half of the year. Too many negatives on this guy. Let this guy breathe a little bit. I'm not going to listen to you jumping on Rafael Devers. He is a fantastic player. Give him some more at-bats. Let him get a little more comfortable. Got a little lower back strain, a little hamstring, a little groin. This week right here is going to help him immensely, and we're going to see how he does down the road. But I appreciate your call, Bill. Thank you so much. Let's go to Rich in Benicia. Rich, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show with Bill Laskey. A tough loss today, but a good battle in that bottom of the ninth.
Well, I got to agree, Tree. It was a good battle, but the thing that I want to kind of say is I don't know how much longer we can continue the charade of throwing Yastrzemski out in right field who's basically a career 250, 240 hitter with medium power, maybe hits 18 to 20 home runs. Yes, he's good defensively, but he doesn't have upside. And the fact of the matter is the Giants need players with upside at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was watching the draft a little while ago, and I saw they took this kid Killen. And I'm like, why do we draft another damn shortstop? We just signed Willie Adames for 8 years or whatever we signed him for. Well, wait a minute. This kid is going to be a second baseman, and he's a hitter. Right. And what we need is hitters. I have said
need
this
some contact
for 20
hitters.
plus.
I agree, Rich. You got to get some contact hitters. A very good college player. At one time, they were talking about him being a player of the year. That's how good he is. Then he had a hamstring injury. He ended up having a solid year. They want to get players. I know they're strong with some pitching, but I really think Buster Posey's looking for the future, and I think second base is a major, major position that they want to build off of.
And I think right field is as well. And the point that I was trying to make, but I kind of got a little out of the way on it, but was that we've just got to give Luis Matos 500 at-bats. Darn it.
To see that
you know, you can't bring these guys up and let them get 50 at-bats and then bench them and do this stuff. We did this. I mean, I remember this all the way back to the days of Kenny Henderson and Bobby Bonds. And, you know, they kept wanting to play Kenny Henderson all the time, and Kenny Henderson stunk. He was a number 1 draft pick. He was but he stunk. And we kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him and pushing him, and we never gave him a chance. And the fact
Rich, let me just throw something in there. Let me just throw something in here, Rich. I think the biggest thing that all these guys look at are right-handed pitchers and left-handed pitchers. And a right-hander started, Yastrzemski's in. A left-hander started, Matos in. I've always thought this, Rich. When you come up through high school, college, even in the minor leagues, I faced right-handed hitters. I faced right-handed pitchers. You know, it's not just you can hit only against lefties. I would like to see something like that. I would love to see him play a little bit more and get some more at-bats, but I think they're so heavy on analytics and a righty-lefty combination. You're absolutely right. Yaz is probably one of the best right fielders they could play at Oracle. His hitting is exactly right, 240, 235, doesn't make a lot of contact, strikes out a lot still. He's had his moments where he's gotten hot, but he's a streaky hitter. They got to do something in the outfield. They got to get it better. And Elliot Ramos is another one that really hit a slump here in his last 16 games. Rich, only 10 for 67. This guy was hitting 290 at one time. He's getting a break at 260. So he's dropped 30 points in about a month.
Well, you know, that's another bugaboo I have about how they use Elliott, because they keep bumping him up and down in the lineup.
Yeah,
give him a spot and leave him there. And just let him establish and let him do. I mean, you know, again, Elliott is a great template for trying to look at Luis, because it wasn't until Elliott really got an extended chance, and it was because of injury, that we realized, oh my gosh, we really do have a piece of gold here. You know what I mean?
Rich, let me throw this one to you, Rich. Who do you think should be leading off on this team? I think that's the biggest question when you look at it. If he's making the contact and spraying the ball over the outfield and infield, but he's been popping up so damn much. I think the break's going to help him too. I really do.
But you know what, Tree? I'm telling you, what we haven't done with that kid, and we've got to learn, is that short ball. And putting the ball on the ground for him.
Yeah, I agree. Bunting, I mean, putting the ball in play, you hear me talk about it all the Rich. Just make contact. Make contact, things happen. And look what the Dodgers did in that 11th inning. All they did is make contact, put the ball in play, and 2 bloops and a ground ball to Flores that Bivens dropped. I mean, there wasn't a ball hit that hard in that 11th inning.
No, you're right. And you know, I had to listen to it. And by the way, one more little last thing I want to leave you with, Tree. And by the way, did I tell you you're the best? Because you really are the best. I mean, they're the best on the whole damn station. They really are. But one thing I got to leave you with is I was so mad today when
I know
got
what you're
up.
going to say here.
I'm
I'm reading your mind. I'm reading your mind, Rich. I'm reading it. It's called a 4-letter word. Is it called Roku?
That might be
I
it.
knew that.
You might be warm.
I was waiting for somebody to bring that up today, and I have Roku, so I got to watch it. But at the same time, so many disappointing Giants fans were listening. And don't get me wrong, listen to KNBR. Do that for sure. Of course, John Miller had the call. He was excellent.
I didn't actually see the blue pits in the 11th or 10th, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I heard him. So I didn't really actually. I mean, maybe I'll get it tonight at midnight or something on a replay. But come on, man.
I tell you what disappointed me, Rich. It disappointed me as the third game against the Dodgers right before All-Star break, they black it out. And I don't think that was cool at all. I really felt bad for people that couldn't watch it on Roku. Some of them watched it off their computer on MLB Network, but you had to search for it to find it. And this was the game you wanted Giants fans to watch, the third game of a Dodger series, 1-1 before the All-Star break. It turned into a great game when Matos hit that home run. The tide changed. The excitement was there. Opportunities in the 10th to win it. It just didn't happen. But, boy, it was just a good baseball game. And the whole series, I thought, was a good series.
And, and to boot, it was a sellout. So what the heck? The Giants weren't losing anything by putting it on regular TV.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, it's the old Roku, Apple TV, and all the other streaming, sites that are paying big money to MLB Network to steal a game here and make people jump on their sites, because that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, well, it tells you how old I am, because you know what? I hate all that stuff.
Hey, you know what, Rich? Dial 0680 on the AM or 104.5, pal. You'll never miss a game right here on KNBR. But thanks for the call, Rich. I appreciate your time, as always. Let's go to Stockton and talk to Steve. Steve, you're on the Extra Inning post-game show on a Sunday before the All-Star break. Tell me your thoughts on this Giants team.
Well, thanks for taking my call, Bill. I also enjoy you so much. Bill, I have concerns about Patrick Bailey, and let me share a couple of things that I've seen that most people have seen. I'd like your opinion. Not getting the bunt down today was huge with no outs. He's had pass balls most recently.
Had one today, too.
Runners are yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was at the game last night. By the way, a lot of Dodger fans, man.
Yeah, too many in the whole weekend series.
Yeah.
It seemed like every game
I was surrounded by him. Section 307. I was just surrounded by him.
I don't know what the Giants can do about that. I really don't know how you could stop selling tickets, because you can't say, are you a Dodger or are you a Giant? I don't know how they can stop that. But it's definitely gotten worse here at Oracle Park when they play the Dodgers. The Giants and just don't have enough orange and black in the stands. Willie Adames talked about it, and it was really a lot of Dodger blue for all three games.
I was at the Hotel Via last night upstairs on the roof.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
The whole thing was Dodgers. The whole place. Unbelievable. Wow. Anyway, getting back to Patrick, he's taking way too many strikes when he's hitting also. And then, of course, his hitting. But the pass balls, I think he's got something wrong with his eyes. I just have a feeling.
That's your, I don't think that's the point of it. He has been hitting a lot better. He's hitting over 200 now. Some clutch hitting here and there. Of course, that home run ball off the wall, the inside to Parker. The months of May, the month of June, just couldn't even get a rollover. I mean, he was rollover and everything and striking out a lot, just like what you're saying, Steve. But you got to give these guys a little room in 162 games. You're going to go up and down. Willie Adames was hot from June 10th on, and he was the next guy everybody was attacking. It's tough, especially as a catcher. You look at Will Smith. He's leading Major League Baseball with a batting average over 325, the starting catcher for the National League. But there's no other catchers even close to that. Most catchers are hitting 220 or less. And I think, Steve, the biggest thing is, do you sacrifice defense for offense? Do you think he's that great of a catcher? I do.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. I think he's a great catcher. I just noticed some subtlety. He's not reacting to the ball as quickly as I've seen him do. And, people go from last year when, long season and all that type of stuff. I don't think that's it. I think there's something's going on.
Well, we'll find out. No question there. We'll find out what's going on the second half. I think these 3 days break are going to save a lot of these guys' legs, their arms. Pitchers are going to get a rest. Of course, everybody's going to check out Rafael Devers to see what they're going to do, lower back strain, things like that. We just don't know the injuries because we're not in a training room. There's a lot of guys fighting. Landon Roop yesterday had a flu bug, yet he went out there and pitched. 3-day break, you just get away from it. You do. And the years that I had a 3-day break, you just put your legs up, drank a couple cold ones and relaxed in the sun, had fun with your family, and you forgot about the game. And that's what you have to do. Get your mental side better, get your thoughts better, get your reactions ready for the second half, because there's only 65 games left. They've already played 97, so really the half of the season's over. But Steve, it is a grind, and you and I both know this by a catcher. He hit that inside park home run. I had the post-game show. Over 165 pitches he caught that game. And then he runs out the home run. So let's give him a little break on the offensive side. I think you're right on a couple of the defensive side. There's a couple plays that he could have caught or blocked, and he didn't do it. There was a point where Bob Melvin got upset at him by saying, hey, he wasn't alert today. And Bob Melvin calls him out. He calls him out in a very professional way. But let's see what he does, Steve, in the second half. But I appreciate your call today. I do. Let's go to Andrea in Berkeley before we go to my 2 interviews. Andrea, how's your day going?
Yeah, I'll tell you, thanks the baseball gods and goddesses for KNBR. I really appreciated their broadcast, and quite frankly, I listen to it anyway, even if the game's televised. But yeah, the whole Roku
You do
thing
the same
was
thing
kind of
I do, huh? You
disappointing.
listen and you watch at the same time, and it's always like, maybe 15 seconds before the play's on television. I do that all the time. Same thing with MLB on your phone. I always watch that too with when you see the strike zone and things of that magnitude. Today, Roku was like 5 pitches behind the game. I mean, it was ridiculous how late they were.
Yeah, exactly. It was really disconcerting to watch, especially a game of this magnitude. So kudos to KNBR for, always being stellar.
That's why I always say you can
their...
always turn on a radio right here, Andrea.
Right.
They're always here.
Yeah, no, I listen to the game, even when the game's televised. I just like it, and it's really informative and, insightful and timely. And
that home run ball by Matos, John Miller called that one. It was exciting the way he called that home run by Luis Matos. That was really a couple calls today had him. It was really for 8 innings. It was dead. There was nothing there. I think everybody was thinking they're going to lose this game 2-0. They lose yesterday 2-1. And then when Matos hit that home run, the tide changed, the momentum changed.
Yes.
And when Lucchesi got out of the 10th inning, I was saying, here we go. We're going to win this game. We're going to steal this game right here. It just didn't happen.
Yes, that's what I was saying. It's like, all right, bottom of the 9th, Matos, 2-run homer. He's born, I looked him up, January 28, 2002, so in Aquarius, having his Jupiter return. And I actually looked up Galvin Killen, March 28, 2004, young, energetic Aries. So looking a bit towards the future.
I think he's a good ball player. I really do. They had him slated as the college player of the year in the beginning of the year. So a lot of scouts watched him. A lot of good things he did at University of Tennessee. It's a very good league. Had a little hamstring issue, but that's nothing major with young kids. And they drafted him 13th pick, so we'll see what they do. They got a couple more picks later in the draft. Of course, they lost a couple by picking up Willie Adames. And we'll find out what Buster Posey, as well as the scouting director, does, and find out what Randy Wynn picks next.
Yes. I know. I was watching some of the draft. The Roku thing was definitely getting challenging to deal with. So it was just all in all, to err on the positive side, take a page out of your playbook. It was a positive season. I'll take 52-45.
I agree. 7 plus, that's a good one. When you're looking at 97
right.
games and you're over 500 by 7, sure, it could have, would have been better, but it isn't. And you take that and you go to the All-Star break, take 3 days off, travel to Toronto. That's going to be a tough series. This next couple weeks, the Giants play Toronto, Atlanta on the road. Then they play your boys, Andrea. The Mets are coming to town.
Yes, I heard that, and some ESPN stuff. Yeah, so, it should be an exciting second half, and thank you for an exciting first half and your show and calling it like you see him and erring on the side of positivity. Appreciate your Sagittarian philosophical nature. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Andrea. Thank you so much, Andrea. You have a good week, Andrea. I'll be on Wednesday doing a Sports Phone KNBR show. Look me up there. I got a couple great guests. But today, you got to stay on, Andrea. Dominic Smith. I had a nice one-on-one with Dominic. Had a great conversation with him. Of course, he's been playing first base for the Giants. And Mickey Hatcher is going to be on later. A funny interview I have with him. But, Andrea, thanks for your call. It's always a pleasure talking to you. So we're going to take a quick break on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. Coming up next, as I just told Andrea, Dominic Smith and I sit down, talk a little bit about where he came from, what he did, and a lot of trials and tribulations for this man who's played 9 years in the big league. So coming up next right here on the Sports Leader, Dominic Smith on the Extra Inning Postgame Show.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with former Giants right-hander Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Hear him on your Apple HomePod by saying play KNBR. Play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show with Bill Laskey. My guest, you know him very well, playing first base for the San Francisco Giants. Also 9 seasons in Major League Baseball already. Let's bring on that person that wears number 7, Dominic Smith. Dominic, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Bill. Thank you for having me on.
Well, it's a pleasure talking to you, and let's talk about the date, June 4th, when you put that Giants uniform on for the very first time. You walked into Oracle Park as a home member of the San Francisco Giants. Tell me your emotions when you did that.
Yeah, I was actually very honored just for the opportunity to put on the Giants uniform. Excuse me. But also just knowing the history about just what this franchise has done over the years. Some of the greatest players of the game have put on the Giants uniform, and some of my favorite players as well. So to be able to share that opportunity was something that I just really just was very overwhelmed with and kind of lost for words. So I was very appreciative at the moment, and just joined a really good ball club and just wanted to help them continue what they were doing, which was playing good baseball.
Now, Dominic, you took a free agent move out of AAA with the Yankees, and you signed to come with the Giants, flying into San Francisco, remembering all the games you played here as a visiting player at Oracle Park. Did that come to mind at all? Did you start thinking about, this is going to be my new home ballpark?
Oh yeah, for sure. Being from LA, and that's only a 6-hour drive to the Bay, and playing here in the Bay, it was one of my favorite places to visit as a visiting ball player. I just remember coming here, always going to Fisherman's Wharf, and just enjoying my time by the water. And just when I did play here, just really remember taking in all the history from the great players who played here. So when I did sign and it kind of hit me, it was really just super surreal. And for me, I felt like, it was no better place to be. I just really wanted to make it, feel like home. When I got here, the front office, the team, they welcomed me with open arms. And from day one, I just really felt comfortable and just really just trying to take it one day at a time and really cherish each moment.
That voice you hear on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show is Dominic Smith, wearing number 7. What a great number. Let's go back into high school. You grew up in Southern California, Junipero High School, and you were a number 1 draft pick from the New York Mets. Playing high school, I read, where you played outfield, you played first base, but you also pitched a little bit. Tell me a little bit about that little section of your career.
Yeah, growing up as a young ball player, you want to help your team win in any facet. And when you're younger, you just play multiple positions. And being left-handed, I'm kind of limited. I did do a little bit of catching too as well, and that was one of my favorite, positions. But being a left-handed pitcher was something that I took pride in. Every 7 days, I would say, because you only pitch once a week in high school. I loved taking the ball. I wanted to go, the distance, which was only 7 innings, and just wanted to give my team a chance to win as many games as we could. And I fell in love with it. I actually had an opportunity to sign as a pitcher coming out of high school, but my love was hitting and playing every day. And I just love baseball so much. I felt like it was no better, avenue to go with, which is being an everyday position player. So, sometimes I do have dreams or flashbacks or thinking, what if I did sign as a pitcher, would my, career be different? And stuff like that. And I always joke with the pitchers, like, man, I can go and do that. And, so it's always a fun competitive background that I've had. And obviously seeing Ohtani do it at the highest level is something that is really remarkable. That's just a little bit about, my high school background and where I'm at now.
Well, Dominic, you had an opportunity to go to USC out of high school. They recruited you to come play baseball. You ended up going to the New York Mets, a #1 pick. I mean, really a fantastic pick, number 11 in the draft. Were you mentally and physically ready to be a pro player?
For what I knew at the time, yes. Obviously, hindsight, everything is 2020. So, yeah, obviously, I know a lot more now that I didn't know that I had to grow into, and I wish I did know at an earlier time. So, um, it's something that I don't regret. It's something that I do tell a lot of young kids who are in the prep world who are going to make that next step. I tell them to really weigh out their options and their decisions, whether it is going to college or signing. I have a ton of friends who went the college route, and those guys, have had great careers. Some, probably haven't, but for the most part, talking to them, hearing their experiences, seeing them develop as a young man, I just feel like they're a little bit ahead of the curve far as than a high school kid. So I just tell the kids, if you get life-changing money, if you get that opportunity, it's kind of hard to pass up. You can always put, your education into your contract and have the team pay for that for when you retire. So that's an option that I did. So when I'm done playing, I can go back to SC and get my degree. So it's definitely different perspective I have now. But if you have that opportunity, it's really hard to pass up. My dream job as a kid was to play in the major leagues. So when I got that opportunity, I couldn't turn it down.
So you signed in June 2013. You ended up going to rookie ball. 2015, you played in Florida State League. I played in that league also. What a beautiful league.
Yeah.
You get to play in all the minor league ballparks for the big league teams. And you hit the hell out of the ball. You ended up being the Florida State League most valuable player. You were player of the week, player of the month. At a young age, you were starting to develop some good skills. What did you learn in just those a couple of years? Because you're fresh out of high school and you're playing against some college kids in that Florida State League, and that was a pretty damn good league.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was very raw. I was very raw back then. And I think the biggest thing that I really learned and really, the thing that stuck with me was just your competitive nature. If you can come to the ballpark every day and compete, no matter how you feel, some days you might feel 80%, some days you might feel 90, some days you might feel 50. But if you can go and really focus and really lock in mentally to go and try to help your team produce a win, whether it's on a defensive side, whether it's grinding out in that bat. I feel like that was critical to being an everyday big league player and making it to the highest level. So that was something that at a young age, I knew I was going up against older competition, guys who are a little bit more experienced than myself. So I just wanted to compete and really not back down. And I felt at each level, you have to just compete a little bit harder and make adjustments a little bit faster. And that's just the mentality and the attitude I took at each level.
And Dominic, it didn't take you long. You got to the big leagues in 2017. August 11th was your Major League Baseball debut. All of us as professional players remember it. I'm sure you do. Nick Pavetta was on the mound. You got the first big league hit. When you first walk in that locker room, we always remember the first time walking in, first time you see your locker, you put your uniform on. It is a thrill that no one can ever take away.
No, you're absolutely right. That call up for me was something that I cherished and one of my most memorable favorite days of my life. Being able to step on that big league diamond. Like you say, you walk in the locker room and you see your uniform for the first time, and people don't understand like the quality of major league uniforms or major league treatment compared to minor league. So it's just really that much better. So for you to experience it for the first time, it's something that's just unimaginable that, you really can't really describe. Only you know it when you go through it. So It's something that, like I said, it was very special. I didn't sleep the whole night. We actually, I had a red-eye flight from Las Vegas to Philly. So I was up all night on the flight, couldn't sleep. Ended up losing my phone at the airport. Um, Made it to the game, and ended up getting my first knock that night on a big curveball, and just the whole experience was something that it just makes me smile to this day.
It sure does. And it didn't take you long to hit your first home run either. You did it 4 days later against Sonny Gray. Tell me what you
Yes.
hit on Sonny and what were you looking for and where'd you hit your home run?
Yeah, Sonny, he's one of the best pitchers just of all time. I'm just seeing his longevity, still what he's doing is really remarkable at his age. But it just shows how, good he is at what he can do, which is command the strike zone. His stuff is really nasty. And, at that time, he was on the Yankees and uh, I was a young pup, so I wanted to be up there ready and not really fall behind. And he ended up, falling behind himself, and he left a little two-seamer up and away, and I was able to stay on it and drive it out to left field. And yeah, that was a really memorable moment for me because playing with the Mets and being in New York, that whole Met-Yankee rivalry, just being in that ballpark right there and having the fans boo me around the bases. That was fun. That was really fun. They threw the ball back on the field, so I was able to get it back. And yeah, it was fun hearing boos for your first home run instead of cheers. So.
Well, a few more minutes with number 7, Dominic Smith. Let's go to defense because you are an exceptional first baseman. You also played outfield, too. I watched you a few years playing outfield, but first base you're more comfortable at. You can see it from the way you play, how you relax your arms, your hands, your stretch, and I love how you give the ball to the pitchers covering first base. I was a pitcher in the big leagues. That's a big thing for pitchers to see the ball and be able to react and touch the bag. You do it exceptional. How much work do you do playing first base?
Yeah, I think with anything in this game, you have to take a lot of pride into it if you want to be one of the best players. And I wanted to be an overall, all around good ball player. And I know that sometimes, the bat won't be there, but something that, can kind of be consistent throughout the year is your effort level and your defense. And that's something where, if you're putting in extra reps every day before, you take your ground balls on the field, I feel like you can have an advantage and you can save so many runs, so many errors from your teammates, and just help win ball games. And I feel like that's just a big part of the game, helping your guys relax and understand that they can go make more plays and throw it over there and not have to worry. It just brings a sense of relief to everybody. But for me, yeah, I just wanted to be like a left-handed shortstop over there and just make every play I can. And yeah, for me, I watch guys like Mark Teixeira growing up. He was a really good first baseman, and watching guys like Don Mattingly and Keith Hernandez. Some of those guys. They really took pride in getting extra outs on the bases and saving their guys. So I feel like I'm an old school ball player in that sense. Just my whole game, I feel like I'm a throwback player. I love contact. I love hitting line drives. I love playing defense and just playing hard. And that's something that I feel like you can control during the course of a season.
Oh, you work hard at it and it shows, and you definitely help out a lot of those infielders and the picks you make over there. As we finish up with Dominic Smith, I'm going to tell you about one pitcher that you hit the hell out of and one pitcher you struggle with. And I want to ask you a little bit about both of them, all right? The first
Okay.
one is Zach Wheeler, 13 for 33, a double, a home run, hitting 395 off of Zach Wheeler. And the other one you're going to have a chance to face when you go to Atlanta, and that's
Yeah.
Spencer Strider. 0 for
Yeah.
11. Tell me the
Yeah.
differences of both of them.
They're both, one of the best pitchers in this game. I actually played with Zach with the Mets, so we have a really good personal relationship, and I think that personal bond, me being around him, understanding, how he likes to attack hitters, how he likes to, get guys out, and just his mentality. that kind of gave me a little edge over the last, few matchups. And for Spencer Strider, he's pitched me pretty well. I think I've hit a couple balls hard against him, just right at guys. So I think the luck is going to turn very soon. And, like I said, these guys are just one of the best pitchers in this game. And these are the at-bats that you want when you're in the big leagues. You want to face the best guys. You want to, show them and compete at the highest level that you can get them at any time. So I can't wait to see them. I know Will's, we have that brotherly rivalry where, he doesn't like facing me too much. And, between the lines, he's not smiling with me, but I'm always giving my best. And then for Strider as well, he knows that his time is coming soon.
Well, Dominic, it was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you, and continued success wearing that Giants uniform.
No, I appreciate you, Bill. Thank you for everything.
That was Dominic Smith on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Hi, it's former Major Leaguer Buddy Biancalana. It was my zone experience in the World Series in which I played the best of my career that led to being the founder of Zone Motion, the only mental training program proven through research and studies to enhance performance and expedite development for athletes of any age. Whether you're a professional or any level amateur, regardless of your sport, Zone Motion is for you. You can check out this life-changing program at zonemotion.com. And and go Giants.
KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey keeps the postgame rolling live right here.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM. The sports leader.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Post-Game Show on a Sunday. I hope you enjoyed Dominic Smith. Great guy right there, number 7, playing first base, and you'll hear that on the All KNBR podcast if you missed that. But the Giants lose a tough one today at Oracle Park, 5-2. A 2-run home run in the bottom of the 9th inning by Luis Matos tied the game. Opportunities in 10th, in the bottom of the 10th to win it. Just couldn't do it. The Dodgers scored 3 runs in the top of the 11th. And they take 2 out of 3 against the San Francisco Giants as we head to the All-Star break. Giants are 52-45, 7 games over 500. They're 24-25 on the road, and the next game will be in Toronto on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as they travel to Canada for a 3-game series. And they bolt all the way down south, and they play the Atlanta Braves Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's the next 6 games. All those games are going to be right here on KNBR. My next interview talked to Mickey Hatcher. Mickey Hatcher and I have known each other for years, faced him back in Dodger days. Of course, he played with the Dodgers from 1979 to 81, came back in 87 to 90. Middle infielder, outfielder, had a big part of their World Series championship in 1988. And we talk a little bit about the rivalry and talk a little bit about the history of who Mickey Hatcher was. And I'll throw you one right here. He was an All-American football player at University of Oklahoma as a wide receiver. Yeah, he almost got into NFL. So sit back. Got a nice conversation coming up here with Mickey Hatcher right here on the Extra Inning Post-Game Show. Coming up here on Sports Leader.
Bill is back.
Fired up, bringing it, all excited.
This is KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
Listen on your Google Home smart speaker by saying play KNBR.
Welcome back to the Extra Inning Postgame Show with Bill Laskey. I'm delighted to bring a guest on, two-time World Series champion. One as a player with the Los Angeles Dodgers in 1988, and one as a hitting coach in 2002 with the Angels. Played 12 years in Major League Baseball. Let's bring in Mickey Hatcher. Mickey, how are you today?
I am doing great. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, I appreciate a lot of your career. I was checking a lot of the things you did, and let's go back in time here. You grew up in Cleveland, Ohio. When did you move to Mesa, Arizona?
Oh, my dad got me out of there when I was 1 year old and moved to Arizona. So I grew up in Arizona, and I was there for over 40 years, and that was my hometown.
Well, you were a football and baseball star. You went to Mesa High School. In 1974, out of high school, you were drafted in 12th round out of the Houston Astros. You didn't sign. You ended up going to Mesa Community College, 1976. You got drafted again in the second round by the New York Mets. Tell me why you didn't sign to go pro then.
Just the fact that my parents wanted me to go to school, even though I wasn't very smart. I grew up with a couple guys that were athletes just like me, but we were going to be firemen once we graduated from high school. And my parents talked me into going to college, which was a good choice for me, but it was tough because like I said, I wasn't a good student. My other buddies weren't good students either, so they went right into the fireman department. And I remember talking to them when we first graduated from high school. And he said, "I seen you guys' report card and you seen mine." I go, "What should I do?" And I pursued to go to college and work hard, and Mesa Community College was a great start for me.
Well, after community college in Mesa, you went to University of Oklahoma. And you were a football player and baseball. You played two sports. All-American football, All-American baseball, wide receiver. You love the game of football too.
Oh, that was one of my favorite sports. And, Barry Switzer came in and recruited me at OU. And I could sit here and talk about that story for a long time because I actually didn't do nothing when I went to Oklahoma, but it was the funnest time I ever had. Actually, Barry Switzer, I run into him a lot, and it was a situation where I came in late. They already had 2-a-days practices. I ran on the field, and everybody was looking at me. My first stages in the big leagues with the college football, and I got in the huddle. Barry was pissed. He goes, "You know how to run an end around?" And I ended up doing like 8 ends around, and they just crushed me. Nobody blocked, and so I went through that. And my last one, I knew the person that was going to tackle me, and he was talking to one of the Selman brothers, and he goes, "I got him. I'm going to take him out." So I knew who was going to tackle me. So when I went around the line, I hit him up between his chins, and it was a collision, and I knocked him out, only to know that he was the best All-American defensive back in all of football. So I had 2 strikes against me already. And Uwe von Schumann, after the game, goes, "Hey, we're going to South Florida. The football team's going to go there." And I said, "I don't think I'm going to go. These guys don't like me." And I ended up going, drinking a few beers, standing on a table dancing. I jumped up and my head went through the ceiling and got stuck. And they pulled me through the ceiling. I hit the floor, and I jumped up and I grabbed one of the cheerleaders' pitchers of beer and I drank it, and I became the favorite of the team. So I was kind of the mascot. So Barry Switzer always talks about that.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story. Let me just ask you something. University of Oklahoma, it was all football there, but you also played baseball. How did you switch that? How did you just switch the tide and go right into baseball? Because you had one hell of a year also there.
Well, baseball was, I played 3 sports in high school, so you learn how to, learn how to go from one to the other. And, I just was able to do that there, and I had a great coaching staff there. And after having the year that I had in football there, then the Dodgers drafted me, and I decided, I'm going to go that route and see where it takes me. And it was another great decision that I did.
Mickey Hatcher joining me on the Extra Inning post-game show. You did get drafted in 1977 in the 5th round to the LA Dodgers. It didn't take you long to get to the big leagues. August 3rd, 1979 was your Major League Baseball debut. Now, you also started playing third base. You ended up playing outfield in all the positions, and you also played first base, but you were primarily a third baseman when you got drafted. How did you make the adjustment?
Well, what happened was when I got to the it was a funny story. So I got drafted, and I was going to Clinton, Iowa. They told me I was the only center fielder they had signed. And I get to the airport in Clinton, Iowa, and these two other guys were sitting across from me. One was Ron Renicky, and one was another guy named Bobby Mitchell. And they were all center fielders from UCLA and USC that got drafted by the Dodgers. I'm sitting there going, where are you guys going? And they go, we got signed by the Dodgers. So there was actually 3 center fielders going to Clinton, Iowa. So they lied to us. And when I went there, I played right field. And when I got to spring training the next year, they had so many outfielders and no infielders, and especially no third baseman. So they asked me, because I had a good arm, if I would fill in that corner. And I just, Chico Fernandez, who was a great instructor for the Dodgers, minor league instructor, took me over there and turned me into a third baseman. And it worked out good for me.
Well, you played with the Dodgers from 79 to 81. Then you get traded to the Minnesota Twins. Kenny Landreau was the player moving over. Now you got to come to the American League, a total different league back then. And you were their center fielder. You didn't play infield, mostly in center field. Kent Herbeck, Gary Gaetti, Gary Ward was one of the corner outfielders. What was the adjustment you made by jumping leagues?
Well, it was no adjustment. I just wanted to play baseball. I didn't think about leagues or anything because I was new to it. So going from one league to the other league at that time didn't make a difference to me. And I just wanted to play. And it was great there. Calvin Griffin took care of me. And, before Herbeck and before all those guys came up, I played there a couple of years, and we weren't the greatest team in baseball, but I really enjoyed it there. And then I got to see the young kids come up. And I remember Calvin Griffin called me in his office, says, Mickey, I got a young kid coming in, and I want you to show him how to go out the outfield, recognize the fans in the outfield, because this guy's going to be special. His name was Kirby Puckett. And I said, yes, sir, Calvin. And then Herbeck, and then, Gagne, and all them guys started coming up. And then I remember in 87, all of a sudden, Dodgers got rid of me in 81, won the World Series. Twins got rid of me in 87, won the World Series. So when I came back in 88 to win the World Series, and this is a true story, Tommy called me in his office and said, Mick, we got to get rid of you. I said, what are you talking about? He says, everybody gets rid of you, wins the World Series. That's a true story. But, playing in Minnesota and seeing all those guys, I mean, and just see that team build up. And, I got released the last day in spring training that year. And I told the manager that you guys are going to win the World Series this year, and they actually did.
Amazing. And those are all stories that you can't make up because that factual evidence shows that.
Oh,
now
yeah.
Now you come back. Nicky, you come back to the Dodgers now in 87 through 90. And 1988 was such a special year with the Dodgers. And I'm going to jump right into the playoffs because you had one great playoff against the New York Mets. You guys beat them 4-3. And now you go against the Oakland A's in the World Series. Kirk Gibson is hobbling around. Of course, the first game, game 1, he hits the home run off Eckersley. But also in that game, you also hit a home run. Tell me a little bit about that because that was off Dave Stewart.
Yeah, it was a true story. I mean, Dave Stewart was one of my teammates coming up through the organization with the Dodgers. And so we were playing, we were working out before our game in the World Series, and I told Dave Stewart, I think I'm going to hit a home run off you. And he goes, not if I throw it at your head. And I said, that's my favorite pitch, joking around. So I was as surprised as everybody in the whole stadium and everybody watching the World Series when that ball went out. I was going for 2 or 3 because I never hit the ball over the fence. I always hit the top of the fence. And so I was as shocked when that ball went out of the park as anybody else.
Well, one of the great stories of that year was Oral Hershiser. Just one of the
Yeah.
greatest years he was. 23-8, 5 straight shutouts, Cy Young winner, MVP of the playoffs. He was just fabulous. 15 complete games, and in a clinching game, you were right back out in the outfield, and you also hit a home run against Storm Davis. That was the clinching game. The Oakland A's was this team that everybody was talking about, and you guys, as the Dodgers, came in and beat them in 5 games.
It was, I think the boost we got was just how we beat the Mets. I mean, we couldn't beat them all year. Beating the Mets, we thought they were the best team in baseball. So when we went in to play Oakland, we that was kind of a downgrade. We thought we could beat them. We thought our pitching staff could handle that team, and I don't know. We just had a lot of confidence, and it just seemed like so many magical things was happening. We're out of it if Mike Scioscia doesn't hit that home run against the Mets. And all of a sudden we're back in it. Kirk Gibson hits another home run, and then we go to game 6 and 7. And I mean, so the Mets were kind of dictated how we went into that the Oakland game. And then all of a sudden, the first game, who hits a home run? Canseco to put them ahead. And of course, we get into the ninth inning, and who does Tommy bring out of the locker room? And is Kurt Gibson. And Kurt was sitting in there, and I remember Vince Scully mentioned a comment about, oh, Gibby ain't going to show up this game, or, he's not going to be available for this game, and it kind of pissed him off. And he started getting up, walking around the locker room, and all of a sudden in the ninth inning, you could hear him hitting down in the batting cage, off a tee and stuff. And he's like, Tommy, I got one more in me. And when Tommy pinched hit him, Davis got on first base. I think that was the key. But when Tommy pinched hit Kurt Gibson, I don't think there was one player on the team thinking, are you kidding me? But when Davis stole second base, it changed the atmosphere. Like, hey, Gibby's going to battle up there. He's going to get a base hit. We can tie this game. And I think that was a big factor in that at bat that changed the tone, especially for our dugout. Was the fact that he was able to steal second. We were down by 1, and Gibby was going to drive him in, and we were going to tie the game like we were doing to everybody else. So that was the big factor in that game.
A phenomenal moment in Major League Baseball, especially in the World Series when he hit that home run off Eck. And you were a big part of that. Mickey Hatcher joined me for a few more minutes on the Extra Inning post-game show. Mickey, I talked about it earlier. You played outfield, corner outfield, center field, third base, first base. You ended your career after 12 years with a .980 fielding percentage, 52 errors in over 2,500 chances. When you're playing multiple positions like this, how do you work at each position, and how do you stay consistent?
You have to go to each position and work hard, and that's what I did. Outfield was pretty simple. I took pride in outfield, but infield I really had to work hard on ground balls, especially on the hot corners. Going from, right at me was fine, but just getting used to going from in the hole, backhanding on the line, getting your feet, you're throwing the ball different. You're not throwing it, you got to throw it across the field on a line. And so a lot of that was just mainly what I had to do is just keeping my footwork going, because that outfield was a lot easier for me. You got an idea, the hitters and stuff, but the hot corner, you didn't know if you're going to get a slow chopper, or you're going to get one hit hard, or in what hole it was in, the short hop. So I spent a lot more time taking a lot more ground balls, especially on the corners, because that's where I was getting used more.
You know, Mickey, as professional players as we were, baseball cards were huge. We'd take pictures of Tops and Fleer and Donruss. And there's a baseball card with you in an oversized baseball glove when you were with the Twins. It's a hilarious baseball card. And the story about it was you were goofing around with it before the game, and all of a sudden somebody said, "Hey, will you take this for a baseball card?" And you took it. And if people need to go look at this picture, it is hilarious what you did for that card. And I know you
I
talk about it a lot.
Oh, it was a great card. I didn't know that they were going to do it, but I actually got one with the Dodgers too, which I like that one a lot better, with my hat turned around and me with the big glove wearing the Dodger outfit. But I walked out on the field and I said, you're going to make a baseball card, and the glove company was there. I think it was Rawlings or something, was sitting there, and they had a big glove on the table. And so the card people were over there taking pictures for your cards. I just said, this is what I want. I didn't think they were going to do it, and they ended up doing it. And I'm glad they did it, because that's kind of my personality. And if I wanted to have a card, that would be the great card for me. So it's like everybody else got bobbleheads. I got the card.
Well, Mickey, after you got out playing baseball, you ended up being a hitting coach under Mike Scioscia with the Angels. You ended up winning the 2002 World Series against the Giants, and what a phenomenal series that was. How did you enjoy jumping into being a coach?
Oh, I loved it. When I left the Dodgers in '90, Peter O'Malley called me up to his office and said, "Hey, Mick, we would really like you to get down in the minor leagues and start coaching in our program. We think you're going to be a great coach." So I had an opportunity. They sent me right down to AAA ball. And, back then, shoot, they had Eric Karras, Mondesi, uh, Offerman, got, gosh, I think their whole team ended up in the big leagues and having great years. And, and I was there in the fact when they brought up Piazza. Piazza was just like a roaming catcher in our organization, and Billy Russell was down there as a manager, and I was the hitting coach. And we're looking at his numbers like, hey, this guy hits a home run like once every 10 at bats. How come he's not playing? And I remember us asking Charlie Blaney if we could bring Piazza up while we had our catcher's injuries, and they ended up bringing him up, and history was made. That guy ended up going and becoming a Hall of Famer. So being part of all that and working with the young kids, really that just extended my baseball career, because I went from loving the game as a player to loving the game as coaching. And when I went to the Angels, Mike Scioscia, who was my roommate and still really good friend, got to be the manager. And I remember, we had 2 years with him, and he called me in the office and said, "Mick, we got to teach these guys how to play the game." And I go, "I agree with you 100%. And, we explained the moving the runners, scoring runners, playing baseball. And that team took off and started in spring training. They started playing offense that way. And we started off the season terrible, and they stuck with it. And next thing you know, they got a World Series by playing the game, and their whole tone and how they were was just amazing to watch. And when we won it with the Dodgers, we won it in Oakland. So it was a great celebration with our team, but we didn't have the chance to really celebrate it with our fans. We had the parade when we went home, but when we won it with the Angels, it was electrifying. That stadium just went crazy, and that was just a joy.
Mickey, as we finish up here, you played for 12 years in the big leagues. Also, you coached, you won a World Series both ways. What was the love of baseball? How did you enjoy the game, and what made you bring it back time and time again to put that uniform back on?
I just think just being around the game, I know the years before that, I'd say 5 years before that, I started watching baseball. I started watching these guys, the Pete Roses, and a lot of these guys that were my idols. So when I first got to the big leagues, those guys were still playing. They were on their way out, but they were still playing. So when I went through the American League, a lot of those guys were still playing.
Mm-hmm.
When I went to the National League, when I started in the National League, those guys were still playing. And then when I went to the American League, those guys were, a lot of them were still playing. So I just enjoyed the fact that I had an opportunity to play in the game, but not only the opportunity to play, to be surrounded by so many great players that eventually had amazing careers, and a lot of them are going to be in the Hall of Fame. And so that was what the joy that I got out of it.
Mickey, it was a pleasure catching up with you. Congratulations on such a good career as a player and then on as a coach. And it was just a pleasure catching up with you today.
Well, thank you for having me on your show, and keep these old geezers coming around, man, because they got the best stories.
You're absolutely right. Mickey Hatcher on the Extra Inning Post Game Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader. Did you ever think you could become a big league baseball player? Well, now you can. Come to Big League Coaching Fantasy Camp. It's January 11th through January 17th, 2026 in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. Our host hotel is the Marriott Suites for the week. Come play with the great coaches, Joe Youngblood, Shooty Babbitt, Tim Flannery, Scott Garrelts, Mark Davis. Go to bigleaguecoaching.org and sign up today. Become a big leaguer.
The game may be over, but we know you want to talk more ball. So KNBR Extra Innings with Bill Laskey continues.
Sponsored by Lenardi's Markets of the Bay Area. Quite simply, the best.
We are KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, welcome back to an Extra Inning post-game show as we close out a Sunday. You heard my last commercial. If you want to join Fantasy Camp, doesn't matter what team you play, what uniform you wear, come to Big League Coaching, and you can take a look at my website. It's called bigleaguecoaching.org. That's right. Take a peek at it. A lot of great times. We've done it for 2 years now. We'll have our third one coming up in January. So if you want to be a big leaguer, come join our team. All right, Giants lose a tough one today at Oracle, 5-2. In 11 innings, the Dodgers scored 3 in the top of the 11th to win that game. They win the series 2 out of 3. Giants are still having a great first half. As they say, first half, 65 games left in the season of 162 games. They're 52-45, 7 games over 500. Next weekend, the Toronto Blue Jays, as the Giants travel to Toronto and play the Blue Jays for 3 games, and then off to Atlanta for 3. I'll be covering the post-game show on Friday on Sports Phone KNBR, and then the Extra Inning post-game show will follow up both those games on Saturday and Sunday. I want to thank my guests today, Dominic Smith and Mickey Hatcher. Both you, if you missed either one of those interviews, you can listen to it on the All KNBR podcast. You can listen to most of all my interviews there. We always post them up there, and there's been a lot of them, and a lot of good ones coming up here the second half. I have a good interview with Keith Hernandez this week and Howard Johnson of the New York Mets. I want to thank my producer, Kyle Haar. Did a great job once again. And I want to thank Giants fans for calling in. It's always a pleasure talking Giants baseball right here on KNBR. For Bill Laskey, be safe, be well, have a great week, enjoy the All-Star game. We'll do it all again next weekend on the Extra Inning post-game show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
It's another great outing for the righty on your home of San Francisco.